Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to bring you an Airbus A3 takeoff from the Margaret Thatcher Concourse at London Heathrow Airport. The mighty A380 is quite rare these days to see at the airport, never mind taking off. But when they do, it is definitely worth capturing on camera. This British Airways jet will be departing as Flight BS777 South Oslo in Norway. And after what feels like an age, we will see an A380 to the skies. You can see there is a huge amount of traffic on the runway. There's lots of other aircraft that have to depart. In fact, there's an American Airlines 777 just behind us here, ready for takeoff itself. It's just going to have to wait until the mighty A380 has gone. But let's take our eyes off the 777 and focus on the A380. What a beast. Just look how big it is as it makes its way down the runway. Can you imagine getting into one of those seats? It must feel incredible to take off in an aircraft like this, especially when it's almost empty due to COVID. I don't think many people would have been lucky enough to experience this. As we can see now, the engines are coming up to full power, really getting this giant jet up into the air. Remember, this is one of the largest passenger aircraft ever built, so it needs plenty of power to get airborne. Thankfully, it's got 4 massive engines to do the job. The Airbus A380 is powered by 2 sets of engines, 2 Rolls-Royce engines and 2 Trent engines. And all 4 need to be working in unison to get this plane airborne. As we can see, the engines are absolutely screaming. You can hear the immense power within them. That's why you should always watch and listen to planes taking off. It is such a wonderful sound. It may not be everyone's favorite sound, but I love nothing more than hearing a jet engine come to life. We still have a few more seconds to wait before this jet is airborne, but any moment now, it's going to blast off. It has reached the end of the runway now, and it's building up speed. Oh, wow, it's starting to pick up now. It's finally taking off. The banking starts, and it's heading towards the right-hand side of the screen. It's so hard to capture a jet like this taking off because it is so big. You can only fit so much of it in shot. And because it's so wide, sometimes you can't even see the full wingspan. But just look at the size of the thing as it lifts off. Remember, this is one of the largest passenger jets ever built. Now, if you're someone who likes planes, then you probably know this already. But for those who don't, just think about the size of an average-sized person. Now imagine that person standing next to the A380. How small do you think that person would look? I think they would look incredibly tiny. Look at how far up the banking goes. It's almost perpendicular, and yet the pilots managed to keep it steady and level. It looks like the A380 takes off like a rocket. It seems so fast when you see it in real life. It doesn't seem to build up much speed before it takes off. That's just how powerful these engines are. If you watched our video on the Boeing 747 taking off, then you would have seen how slow it took to get airborne compared to the A380, and the reason for that is because the 747 only has 2 engines, whereas the A380 has 4. More engines means more power, and the 380 has some serious power at its disposal. And it looks like the sun is shining on the A380 today. It's got a beautiful golden glow around it. What a spectacular sight. It really does look impressive as it climbs away from the airport. Now we can get a better view of the A380. We can see the whole aircraft here. We can also see the American Airlines 777 behind. That was waiting patiently for the A380 to clear the runway. It can now start its engines and begin its journey to the United States. Meanwhile, the A3 is climbing away and making its way to the left-hand side of the screen. We're going to lose it now as it disappears behind the cloud. But we've got one last look at the mighty jet as it climbs away from the airport. Now we can turn our attention back to the 777. This is the American Airlines 777-300. It is a very long-range variant of the 777, and it's perfect for the route to the United States. This American Airlines jet has two 90s powering it, along with a GE engine powering the other. With 4 engines powering it, the A380 is going to find it easy to get to its cruising altitude. That's why it reaches its cruising altitude so quickly. You don't usually see a plane climb that fast. But this is no ordinary plane. With over 250 orders for the A3T and more than 150 delivered, this is one of the most popular super jumbo aircraft ever built, but sadly production has now stopped. Airbus decided to stop making the A3 because there weren't many buyers. Most airlines realized that they didn't need such a large aircraft, especially since the pandemic hit. But nonetheless, we were lucky enough to see one take off here at Heathrow Airport. Look at how high up the banking goes. It's almost perpendicular, and yet the pilots managed to keep it steady and level. It looks like the 3D takes off like a rocket. It seems so fast when you see it in real life. It doesn't seem to build up much speed before it takes off. That's just how powerful these engines are. We can see the white trail being left behind. That's the contrail. It's being left by the hot air from the engines. That's where the contrail comes from. It's formed by the hot air hitting the cold air in the upper atmosphere, and it leaves a white trail behind. The A380 is now out of sight. We're going to lose it now as it disappears behind the cloud. But we've got one last look at the mighty jet as it climbs away from the airport. Now we can turn our attention back to the 777. This is the American Airlines 777-300R. It's a very long-range variant of the 777, and it's perfect for the route to the United States. This American Airlines jet has two 90s powering it, along with a GE engine powering the other. With 4 engines powering it, the A380 is going to find it easy to get to its cruising altitude. That's why it reaches its cruising altitude so quickly. You don't usually see a plane climb that fast. But this is no ordinary plane. We can now see the 777 starting to pick up speed. It's building up now, and it's going to take off in a few seconds. Remember, it was waiting behind the A380 earlier. It had to wait until the A380 had cleared the runway before it could start its engines and take off. Now it's just building up speed and getting ready for its takeoff. It's coming up to speed nicely now. The engines are really revving. They're screaming as the jet gets faster and faster. Oh, wow, here we go. The 777 has now started its ascent. It's lifting off the runway and climbing away from the airport. This is one of the fastest takeoffs I've seen in a while. The 777 seems to accelerate quicker than the 380. That's because the 777 only needs 2 engines to get airborne, whereas the A380 needs 4. But nonetheless, both of these jets are incredible machines. They're both huge and powerful, and they both put on a great show as they took off. We're going to see the 777 disappear behind the clouds now. It's climbing steeply, and it's going to make its way across the Atlantic Ocean. At some point, we're going to see it turn to the right-hand side of the screen, and we'll see it disappear behind the clouds. But for now, we've got one last look at this American Airlines jet as it climbs away from Heathrow Airport. And that is going to conclude today's video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to drop a like. If you want to see more videos like this, then consider subscribing. And I will see you in the next video.